Hello students, hope you all are doing well and preparing for your examination. So in today's video we are going to discuss about introduction to human anatomy and physiology. In this video we will focus about the introduction to human anatomy. For example, let's say we will cover the medical terminologies that are included in human anatomy and physiology, the definition of human anatomy and physiology. We will cover the different branches of human anatomy, that in which branches human anatomy is studied, and physiology, that how your digestive system, your different systems of the body like digestive system, muscular system, respiratory system, how these systems of the body perform their mode of action, their mechanism, their functions. So in today's video we will have an overview regarding the human anatomy, internal structure and the functions. So, by the end of this video, you will be able to compare and contrast anatomy and physiology, including their specializations and methods of study, and also you will be able to discuss the fundamental relationship between human anatomy and physiology, that how human anatomy is interrelated to the physiology of the humans. So, without delaying, let's start the video. First of all, the very important thing or very first thing that comes into your mind is what is actually anatomy, what you understand with the term anatomy. So, let's focus. If you will see the word anatomy, you will understand that this word is made up of two words. First one is the ana and second word is the tomy, right? Tomy means to cut. To cut. Tomy means to cut. Ana means internal structure or the structures. Okay. So, to cut structures. What you will get after cutting the structure? You will have a gross examination of that structure. For example, if you cut or make an incision into the skin, you will get the internal structure, that there are bones, there are muscles, tendons, ligaments attached. So, this is the gross examination that you perform. So, anatomy means the study of internal structures of any human being or animal, right? So, here we are focusing on the human anatomy and physiology only. So, we will understand with context to humans only. Alright. So, what is anatomy? Anatomy is the study of internal structures of any organism. Right. So, what we study in human anatomy, you will see there are different things that we can study or that are included in the anatomy. Alright. So, first one is the gross or macroscopic study. Like I said that if you will make an incision into the skin, you will be able to see the internal organs or internal structures underlying the skin. So, this kind of examination or this kind of anatomy is called as gross or macroscopic anatomy, which you can see with the naked eye, which you can observe with the naked eye and give some analysis, right? Second one is the microscopic anatomy. Microscopic anatomy, as the term indicates, in this kind of anatomy we will study about the internal structures that are very small and cannot be seen with the naked eye. They are only seen with the help of a microscope, right? So, the anatomy of things which we see with the help of microscope is called as microscopic anatomy. The next one is the developmental anatomy. You can have an idea with the term only, that developmental. What developmental means? That it is related to the development of something, the growth and development. For example, and you study about the embryo which is in the womb of a mother. So, it undergoes some growth and development at the different months. some organs are developed, the fetus attaches to the uterus, then it develops into an embryo, and it undergoes several changes throughout the gestation period. So this kind of anatomy is called as developmental anatomy, in which we study about the growth and development that a person undergoes throughout the life. Next is the physiology. What is physiology? Now you get to understand what is anatomy. Anatomy is the study of the internal structures of any organism or human being, right? Now what is physiology? Physiology is the study of the functions of the body parts. These internal structures, in anatomy we will cover about the internal structures of the structures. Now what these internal structures perform their function, how these internal structures perform their functions. For example, in respiratory system, there is lungs, nose, and different organs that are related to the respiration. Now in anatomy we will study about these structures, that what is the anatomy of this structure, which vein is or artery is supplying blood, which muscles are attached, how many bones are there. We will study this in anatomy. But in physiology, if we talk about the physiology, in physiology you will study how these organs perform their function, that is respiration, right? That how respiration is followed in the human body. So the study of the functions of the body's structure is known as physiology. Alright. So this is the interrelationship between the anatomy and physiology. Anatomy is the study of internal structure, and physiology is the study of the functions of these internal structures. Moving on, now we will study that how anatomy is referred, if we are talking about certain regions or certain things, then how anatomy terminology is different or is different at different regions. So first of all is the regional anatomy. If someone is saying that this is the regional anatomy, he is indicating about the region, the different regions of the different regions of the body whose anatomy is referred to, right? If someone is talking that let's have a look at the foot anatomy, or the anatomy of the foot of any person, then it is indicated as regional anatomy. Moving on, next one is the surface anatomy. It is the study of internal structure as they relate to the overlying skin. Alright, if we study about the surface of the knee, a person is saying have a look at the surface of the knee, then he is referring to the surface anatomy of the knee. Moving on, next one is the microscopic anatomy. As I told you that it is the study of the internal structures that are not seen with the naked eye, that can be only seen with the help of a microscope. So cytology is included. Cytology is an example of the microscopic anatomy, that how these cells look, how the tissues look. This is a part of microscopic anatomy. In microscopic anatomy, there is a sub-branch cytology, and the second one is the histology, in which we study about the tissues. Next one is the developmental anatomy. As I told you, in developmental anatomy, we trace the structural changes throughout the life. That what structural changes an organism or an organ of the body is going throughout the life. The developmental anatomy studies about the growth and development of a person throughout the life, that how the person is growing and going through different developmental changes. This is known as developmental anatomy. Moving on, now talking about the specialized branches of anatomy, that what are the different branches that comes under anatomy. So the first one is the pathological anatomy. If you will see the word pathology, it is consists of the word patho and logy. Patho means abnormal. So pathology means, or the pathological anatomy means, the study of structural changes caused by a disease. If for example there is a person is going through any disease that is causing the changes in the internal structures of a person, for example the joints of a person is going through any anomaly, and it results into the anomaly in the joints, so it will be coming under pathological anatomy, right, where the structures of the body are going through any anomaly or any disorder. So this is pathological anatomy. Next one is the molecular biology. Molecular biology is the study of anatomical structures at a subcellular level, where we are talking about the different organs or the different parts of the cells. For example, we are talking about the cell membrane or the plasma membrane. The cell membrane of an organism is made up of what things, or these. So these kind of thing will be included in the molecular biology. For example, we are talking about the anatomy of a cell. That cell is made up of cell membrane, plasma membrane, and different type of amino acids and chemicals are arranged into the cell membranes. Then this kind of anatomy is called as molecular biology or molecular anatomy. Moving on, next one is the radiographic anatomy. In radiographic anatomy, as the word implies, the radio waves are sent into the part of the body, and radio images of the part of the body are observed. Radiographic anatomy can be performed by performing different scanning procedures such as X-ray, MRI, and CT scan. The different waves are sent on the part on which we have to focus and observe, and image is observed on different films, indicating that which changes a joint is going through, so or any part of the body is going through. So the study of internal structures visualized by special scanning procedures is known as radiographic anatomy. Alright, hope you are getting the branches of anatomy, that what are the different branches of anatomy and how these different terms are different from each other. Now we are talking about the positions, the different positions of the human body, that if we are into certain position, then in anatomy what terminologies is used for these position. First position is the supine position, right? First position is the supine position. If you will look at this diagram, you will see a person is lying and by facing upwards. The person is facing upward and is lying on the ground. So this kind of position, when a person is facing upward lying on the ground, is called as supine position. Now the second position is the prone position. The prone position is termed as the position in which a person is lying facing downwards by his abdomen. It is this position, this kind of position is called as prone position. So these are the different positions that are used in the human anatomy. Next are the planes, with the different planes of the body. If you will study anatomy, you will encounter certain terms that you should know, that you should be aware about. So So these are the different planes of the body, that how a body is divided into equal halves. Okay, so the first one is the sagittal plane or the mid sagittal. Sagittal plane divides the body into equal right and left halves. If I say I cut an organ into the sagittal plane, or I am talking about the sagittal plane of the body, I am talking about the two right and left equal halves. So sagittal plane is the plane which divides the body into two equal right and left halves. Now the transverse plane. Transverse plane, this one is the transverse plane. So transverse plane is dividing the body into two equal upper and lower halves. When a thing cuts down the body, the organ, into two equal upper and lower half is called as transverse plane, right? Now the frontal or coronal plane. When the body is divided into equal halves of front and the back halves, it is called as coronal or frontal plane. Let's review all the planes. When the body is cut into left and right halves, this is called as sagittal plane. Forward and backward movements are associated with this. Frontal plane cuts the body into front and back halves. Side to side movements are observed in this plane. Then transverse plane cuts the body into top and bottom halves. Twisting movements are seen. Okay, so these are the different planes that are termed in anatomy. Moving on. Now your abdominal region is divided into 9 cavities, right? There are 9 divisions of the abdominal regions. So here in this picture you can see the different names of the different regions of the different cavities of the abdomen. Right hypochondriac region, left hypochondriac region, right lumbar region, left lumbar region, right iliac region, left iliac region. The middle one is called as umbilical region. The upper to the mid umbilical region is the epigastric region, and lower or inferior to the umbilical region is the hypogastric or pubic region. So the doctors or the medical persons relate with these terms only. They give their prescriptions or the diagnosis in these terms, that what they are observing in which kind of region. So it is very important to understand these 9 cavities of the abdomen and get aware with the names of these regions, right? Moving on. Now, what is physiology? Physiology considers the operation of specific organ system, or I can say that physiology covers or focuses on the functions of the body, the functions that are performed by the different internal structures of the body. I told you with an example of respiratory system. Here the example of renal or kidney function is given, that in excretory system there are different organs like kidney, ureters, urinary bladder. These kind of organs are associated with excretory system. This is called as internal anatomy of the excretory system. But if we will focus on how the urine formation occurs, how the urine is passing, this will come under the Physiology, that how these organs, the organs of excretory system, that is kidney, is performing its system, is function, and is filtering the blood and making the urine out of the waste material. So the formation of the urine and the different filtration of the blood and plasma comes under the branch physiology. So this is what is physiology. Now for understanding physiology, the body is divided into different systems of the body that perform different functions. So one such system is the cardiovascular system. As the name suggests, cardio, with the word cardio, cardio is related to heart. Alright. So the cardiovascular system studies about the functioning of heart, that how heart is performing its function and pumping blood throughout the body and producing the heartbeat as well. So in cardiovascular system, you will study about heart, that how heart is performing its function. Next one is the neurophysiology. Neurophysiology is related to the nervous system, that how your brain, how the brain of any person is performing its function. It's performing the control and coordination and providing responses to the stimuli. So how these responses are carried out in any organism, in any human being, comes under the branch neurophysiology. Next one is there are different systems of the human body.